interaction that we have today on the occasion of the inaugural 2+2 Foreign and Defence Ministers meeting, ministerial meeting that we have today with Australia. We will begin today's media interaction with statements from all the ministers. To begin the proceedings, may I request Honorable Raksha Mantri ji to make his remarks.
Excellency Mr. Maris Payne, Excellency Mr. Peter Dutton, Dr. Jaishankar, ladies and gentlemen, 2+2 इंडिया-ऑस्ट्रेलिया मिनिस्ट्रियल डायलॉग के लिए ऑस्ट्रेलिया के दोनों मंत्रियों का स्वागत करना मेरे लिए एक बहुत ही सम्मान की बात है और इससे मुझे बेहद खुशी भी है। 2+2 डायलॉग इंडिया-ऑस्ट्रेलिया कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के महत्व को दर्शाता है। भारत और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के बीच महत्वपूर्ण पार्टनरशिप है जो फ्री, ओपन, इंक्लूसिव और प्रॉस्परस इंडो पैसिफिक रीजन के शेयर्ड विजन पर पूरी तरह से आधारित है। दो लोकतंत्रों के रूप में पूरे क्षेत्र की शांति और समृद्धि में हमारे कॉमन इंटरेस्ट हैं। आज हमने बाइलेटरल और रीजनल इश्यूज पर मिनिस्टर पेन और मिनिस्टर डटन के साथ गहन और व्यापक चर्चा की है। हमने रक्षा सहयोग और वैश्विक महामारी के खिलाफ लड़ाई सहित व्यापक सहयोग के लिए विभिन्न इंस्टीट्यूशनल फ्रेमवर्क्स पर भी चर्चा की है। हमने अफगानिस्तान, हिंद प्रशांत में समुद्री सुरक्षा, बहुपक्षीय स्वरूपों में सहयोग और अन्य संबंधित विषयों पर विचार इंटरनेशनल आवश्यकता पर विशेष रूप से बल दिया है। बाइलेटरल डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन पर हमने सभी सर्विसेज में मिलिट्री एंगेजमेंट्स का विस्तार करने, ग्रेटर डिफेंस इंफॉर्मेशन करने की सुविधा प्रदान करने और म्यूचुअल लॉजिस्टिक सपोर्ट के लिए मिलकर काम करने का भी निर्णय लिया है। डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन के संदर्भ में मालाबार एक्सरसाइजेज में ऑस्ट्रेलिया की निरंतर भागीदारी को देखकर दोनों पक्षों को प्रसन्नता हुई है। हमने ऑस्ट्रेलिया को भारत के बढ़ते रक्षा उद्योग में शामिल होने और रक्षा उपकरणों के को प्रोडक्शन और को डेवलपमेंट में सहयोग करने के लिए भी आमंत्रित किया है। डॉक्टर जयशंकर जी और मैं दोनों ऑस्ट्रेलियाई मंत्रियों को महामारी की चुनौतियों के बावजूद उनकी भारत की यात्रा के लिए धन्यवाद दिया है। दोनों पक्ष एक स्ट्रांग और रोबस्ट पार्टनरशिप के निर्माण के लिए हाई लेवल एंगेजमेंट को जारी रखने पर भी पूरी तरह से सहमत हुए हैं। धन्यवाद।
May I now request Honorable Minister of External Affairs to make his opening remarks.
Raksha Mantri ji, Minister Payne, Minister Dutton, friends of the media. We have just concluded the first India-Australia 2+2 ministerial dialogue. This format is reflective of our growing engagement under the umbrella of our comprehensive strategic partnership. Before our meeting today, I met Minister Payne in the morning to discuss a range of bilateral, regional and international issues. I thank both the Australian ministers and the Australian delegation for their effort to come here in person to make this dialogue happen. As democratic polities, market economies and pluralistic societies, we have a natural bonding that has assumed contemporary relevance in a changing world. It was during the first India-Australia Virtual Leaders Summit held on 4th June 2020 that our Prime Ministers agreed to elevate our relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership. This 2+2 dialogue format is a direct outcome of that Leaders Summit and is pursuant to the comprehensive strategic partnership. India-Australia relations have experienced unprecedented momentum in the last 7 years. There have been frequent engagements despite the pandemic in a range of areas. New mechanisms have come up reflecting new energies. Our people-to-people contact has added a unique dimension to this relationship through the flow of talent, ideas, education and tourism. Today, as the four ministers come together for the first time, we discussed our experiences and further collaboration in responding to the COVID-19 challenges. Decentralized globalization, strategic autonomy, and a sharper sense of national security are some of the relevant outcomes. We also underlined our commitment to creating secure and resilient global supply chains. We welcomed the renewed vigor with which both sides are now engaging on trade issues to fully expedite the complementarities between us. As has been stated by Raksha Mantriji, we have had some significant progress in our defense cooperation framework, and we have set out an ambitious framework to further enhance our cooperation. The 2+2 dialogue reflects the comfort that we have attained in our bilateral relationship, especially in strategic and security spheres, based on the growing convergences with Australia on the security issues and a shared commitment to a free, open, prosperous, and rules-based Indo-Pacific region. The peaceful development of the Indo-Pacific has been a focus of our relationship. Our two countries believe that it should be shaped by a participative and collaborative manner. We reiterated our commitment to continue to work together for peace, stability, prosperity of all countries in the region. This would include a rules-based international order, freedom of navigation in international waters, promoting connectivity as well as respecting the territorial integrity and sovereignty of all states. During the 2+2 dialogue, we also exchanged views on developments in our neighboring regions. Afghanistan was understandably a major subject of discussion. We agreed that the international community must be united in its approach, guided by UN Security Council Resolution 2593. As members of the Quad, we recognize the importance of plurilateralism in a multipolar and rebalanced world. We appreciate the value of our trilaterals with Japan, France, and Indonesia, and will hold these dialogues soon. The importance of ongoing cooperation in multilateral arena for preserving the rules-based international order was also emphasized. Our cooperation in the Commonwealth is important to that organization's performance. I also specifically took up with Minister Payne the problems faced by Indian students in Australia and those wishing to go to Australia, as well as the Indian origin community that is resident there. I urge that difficulties faced by students due to travel restrictions be sympathetically addressed as soon as possible. Today is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. It is a reminder, if one is still needed, of the importance of combating terrorism without compromise. Close as we are to its epicenter, let us appreciate the value of international cooperation to that end. In conclusion, I once again thank Minister Payne and Minister Dutton for their presence here in India today and for a very, very productive 2+2 dialogue.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Women of Australia, Senator Mary Spain, to take the floor.
Thank you very much. And to Ministers Jaishankar, Minister Singh, Minister for Defence of Australia, Peter Dutton, to Australian High Commissioner to India, Barry O'Farrell, and the Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Catherine Campbell, and members of the media. May I say what an enormous pleasure it is to be in New Delhi again. Unusually for Australians, we appear to have brought rain with us. We intend to take some home because we most certainly need it, but it is, as always, no matter the weather, a great pleasure to be here. I want to extend our heartfelt thanks to our hosts for their warm and generous hospitality and their facilitation of this extremely important meeting between Australia and India. This is my third visit to India in 3 years, and I've stopped counting the number of meetings I have been able to have with my good friend, Dr. Jaishankar, many of them face-to-face, perhaps too many of them virtual. And we look forward to escaping the confines of COVID-19 to ensure that those face-to-face meetings and international engagements can continue. That strong engagement, though, speaks to the powerful momentum in the relationship between our two nations. And it is an important step today, with the 2+2 meeting marking another success stemming from our comprehensive strategic partnership and from the undertakings that we are pursuing. Australia and India share a positive vision of a free, open, secure, inclusive Indo-Pacific. As maritime powers and outward-looking democracies in the Indo-Pacific, our cooperation is essential. We've talked today about many things, but including the strong and enduring Australia-India relationships in trade, in community links, in cyber and climate and defence. We have shared views on the challenges of the East China and South China Seas, of Myanmar and of Afghanistan. Last month did see the fall of Kabul. And along with the ongoing fight of terrorism, the future of Afghanistan remains a central concern to both of our countries. Both of our countries have been the victims of appalling terrorist attacks. And this day, the 11th of September, will be forever remembered for those terrible events of 20 years ago, when terrorism struck at the heart of our friend, the United States, and by extension, also, our modern, pluralist and democratic world. It's fitting that Minister Dutton and I should be here on this anniversary with such an important democratic partner. Ours is a relationship that supports stability and the rules-based order, a relationship that is based on the long-standing commonalities but is also full of vitality and promise. And I am very glad to be here today to see us take it forward another very important step. Thank you.
May I now request Honourable Minister of Defence of Australia, Mr. Peter Dutton, to take the floor.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Maurice, for your words. It's been a great honour for Minister Payne and myself to be here in the distinguished company of Minister Jaishankar. Thank you very much, and also to Minister Singh, two good friends and two wonderful people for the relationship. I too want to start today by acknowledging the 20-year anniversary of 9/11 and acknowledge that many people will still be suffering the loss of a loved one, and let it always be a reminder to us of the human cost of the barbaric acts of terrorism, which, as Minister Payne points out, we see not only in the United States but in our own countries and indeed in regions across the world. And it's part of the reason why this relationship is so important and why we rededicate ourselves to the values that we share, and that was reflected in the discussions today. Our discussions have been incredibly productive, and from a year on, since the Prime Ministers Morrison and Modi signed the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, Australia and India's defence and security partnership, and I too am equally committed to this partnership and to this endeavour. India is a rising Indo-Pacific great power and an increasingly significant security partner for Australia, particularly in the maritime domain. We both depend on free and open access to sea lanes in the Indo-Pacific for our trade and economic well-being. And we share an unwavering commitment to upholding the rules-based international order and ensuring the Indo-Pacific is open, inclusive and indeed prosperous. As our nations contend with an increasingly complex and uncertain region, the friendship and partnership between our two nations is essential for helping to ensure our region is secure and stable. And in this vein, I've been incredibly pleased to see the growth in joint exercises and activities between our armed forces, despite the challenges of COVID-19. As we speak, ships from our navies are exercising together off the coast of Australia's Northern Territory as part of AUSINDEX, our two nations' biennial bilateral naval exercise. Furthermore, we continue to collaborate in other areas like defence science and technology, and importantly, cyber security. Our mutual logistics support arrangement enabled Australia to airlift oxygen to India and support its response to the pandemic. Such activities are paving the way for deeper and more sophisticated operational cooperation between our two nations. Today, Minister Singh and I agreed to several initiatives to further our strong defence relationship, and to drive greater practical engagement between our armed forces. Australia will invite India to participate in exercise Talisman Sabre and to continue to support Indo-Pacific endeavour, as we saw earlier this week. Australia will continue to participate in India's exercise Malabar with the United States and Japan. Australia and India have agreed to reinforce each other's maritime domain awareness through increased information sharing and indeed practical cooperation. And finally, Australia will increase its defence diplomatic representation here in New Delhi, a very significant and historic step to support closer coordination on Indian Pacific maritime security and greater information sharing. This meeting was a vital opportunity to discuss practical ways to reinforce our comprehensive strategic partnership, deepen our interoperability and bolster our defence cooperation. I look forward very much to continued close engagement with Minister Singh. I thank the Indian government for the warm hospitality that's been extended to Maurice and I thank you for your friendship, which continues to grow on each of these occasions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ministers, for your opening remarks. We will now take a few questions from friends of the media. Given time constraints, we'll limit that to 4. May I begin? The first question from Ms. Vinita Pandey from Asian Age, please.
My question is to Dr. Jaishankar. Sir, you mentioned that Afghanistan was
Right, that wraps up the press conference following the 2+2 ministerial dialogue between India and Australia. All the leaders made some important points. The focus, of course, was on a free and open Indo-Pacific, with a lot of talk about the security situation arising after the conflict in Afghanistan, after the Taliban takeover. A lot of emphasis was also laid on global cooperation during the pandemic to recover from the pandemic, as well as all the leaders did mention the fact that today is the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks in the US, and all the leaders did pay respects to the same. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.